Welcome to The Win Show. I'm Dr. Jewel Williams. I'm a pastor, author, and business owner. I believe who you are and the gifts given to you by God need to show up everywhere in everything you do, from home to work to church. And so I'm here today and I want to encourage you to win in this season with Christ. And so today I want to address what keeps us from winning. Again, this is The Win Show, and I welcome you to today's episode. And I'm calling today's episode, This is Too Heavy for Me. Let me read a scripture for you, Psalms 81:6 from the New Living Translation. And it says, "Now I will take the load from your shoulders. I will free your hands from this heavy task." Now, I just want to give you 2 points from this, and then I want to give you my winning tips for the day. The first thing the scripture says is that I will take the load. Who's speaking? Well, this is God. He's telling the psalmist that he will take the heavy load from his shoulder. The reason we need someone to carry our load is because they are just too heavy. Too much of our time is spent trying to figure things out on our own. How do we get the funding we need for our company? How do I grow the church? How can I get the job I need so that I can provide for my family? We carry many of these loads alone. Well, God is reminding you and I that we don't have to carry the burden by ourselves. It isn't about how many people show up to help. It's about our willingness to release the control in the hands of God. And when God takes the loads from our shoulder, your own strength, it's no longer needed. God will remove the weight to lift the physical stress off our bodies. So it's time to stop tearing down our bodies as we try to fix everything in our lives and everybody, which, if we're honest with ourselves, we can't fix anyway. So the other point from the scripture that I want to share with you today, it says, when he takes that load, it says, I will free your hand. When God removes the heavy load, your hands are now free. So think about it like this. I'm a writer. If my hands are full with other stuff, if I've got all these other things, then I can't release my hands to be at the task of preparing or writing the words that I need to write. And you can put yourself in that in any kind of way. If you need to come up with some great ideas, but you're bogged down with other stuff, your brain and your mind isn't clear to come up with those ideas. And so when you and I let go of the heavy loads and let God handle them, then we no longer are burdened and trying to figure all these things out all by ourselves. And release and frees us up to do what we were called to do. And so I want to encourage you today to let go of trying to fix everything and everybody, even yourself. Because if you could really do that all alone, why would you need the help of God? I want to encourage you to prepare yourself for what God is calling your winning season. What does that look like? Well, it looks like you and I moving away from thinking we need to have all of the answers before we step out in faith. It's called a faith walk for a reason. It's because you and I must be willing to step out even when we don't fully see that it's manifested. And I'm not talking about blindly doing something. I'm talking about you still do your work and your due diligence on the front end, but sometimes you won't have everything before you, and you're going to have to trust God's timing. So here's my winning tips for today. I have 3 winning tips for today. First, ask God, what things are you holding on that he wants you to let go of? That could be wrong relationships. That could be wrong ideas about yourself. That could be wrong expectations. That could be hurts. It could be many things. So ask God, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of that could be hindering you winning in this season? Then you need to rest. I know how much we have to do, but if we keep going at the speed that we're going to find ourselves either sick, exhausted, or just simply unable to completely fulfill all that God said we could. And so I'm challenging you this year to figure out more ways to find rest. So if God removes the load from your hand, don't immediately fill it with something else. And what that looks like for you could be different what it looks like for someone else. For some of us, we just need to get some sleep. For others, rest may mean you just resting from thinking about your business or your family. So you might need to watch a good wholesome movie or read a book or get a good laugh or go have lunch with some friends. So how are you going to incorporate more rest into your season? And then the final tip is God is the one. As much as we say we trust God, we live like we trust him enough to tell him our concerns, but not enough to wait for him to take care of them. And so I challenge you to let God handle your concerns differently this year. How will you wait? Will you wait frantically, frustrated, and fainting? Or will you trust God for the outcome, whatever that may be? And so again, my 3 winning tips for today with handling those things that are really, how are you going to deal with those things that are too heavy for you? Well, you're going to ask God to show you what you need to let go of. You're going to get some rest, whether that's with friends, getting a good nap, but you're going to get some rest. And then you're going to realize and acknowledge God is the one. And so my prayer for you today is that God would help you to be able to do those things that are necessary so that you can walk in the fulfillment of what God has for you. And so we want to win in this season. We're going to need to do it God's way. So I just want to thank you today for joining me for these quick winning tips. So remember, let's keep our focus on God so we can win with Christ. Again, I'm Dr. Jewel Williams, your host. Have a great day, and let's win with Christ.